Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's a proper special one. I'm flying from Perth to Oban with my son, just the two of us, a bit of father and son adventure across Scotland. Weather's behaving, the Eurostar's ready, and honestly I can't wait for this one.
Degrees, 3 knots. Top 2 located, top 43 Delta going to Scottish 119.875, bye-bye. 43 Delta, roger, nice to see you, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Golf Oscar Sierra, north of the city of Perth, changing to Scottish 119.875. Oscar Sierra, roger. Tango India Victor Victor, Perth Radio Runway 27, right hand circuit, QNH 1016, that's a new QNH 1016, the QFE 1002.
Runway 27, QNH 1016, QFE 1002, 2 POB, 3 hours endurance, and we're going to head west towards Oban and land at Oban and return back this afternoon. Golf Victor Victor.
Victor Victor, off to the hotel, no restriction on your return to Bravo. Yes, I'll taxi to Bravo and then we'll depart again on runway 27. Load indicated. That's really rigor.
Golf Victor Victor, taxi into Charlie for checks.
Romeo, nothing to fetch your backtrack.
Golf Charlie 9 Oscar Charlie, taxi to fuel pump. There you go. Golf Mike Romeo, back taxi then. Roger. Say again. Off quite. 002, right, he's off. Arm off. Alright. Alrighty. We're going. So I'm just going to check, see.
So we're just taxiing just now from Perth in Scotland. Always love this little bit. You're not in the air yet, but you can feel the excitement building. My lad's sat next to me, so absolutely buzzing, and to be fair, so am I. Heading down to Holding Point Charlie. Aircraft feels good. Everything's responding nicely. Checks are getting done, and there's the runway 27 right ahead of us. Perfect.
Brakes fully. Control stick full.
I got you, hotel entering runway 27 at Bravo, backtrack.
Yeah. Lap 7. 1 stay up. Trim. Ropes are on, landing lights are on, fuel pump on, cockpits, instrument set and stern, strobe lights, and transponder is
Gonna mess around with these wires a little bit because you're a bit
ready?
crackly.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm happy, mate.
There's a bit of air coming through here.
That's fine.
Golf Juliet Hotel, surface winds 240 degrees at 5 knots.
Yep. Perth Hotel taking off, runway 27. Yeah. Okay. Speaking to me.
Perth Tower, hello, it's helicopter Golf Papa Sierra Charlie Alpha. Just for a ground, please.
Papa Sierra Charlie Alpha, Perth Radio, the QNH 1016 Alpha there, plus 6.
That's 1016, Charlie Alpha.
Dab, which cable is yours, top or bottom?
Golf Victor Victor entering and backtrack runway 27 ready for departure.
Victor Victor, roger.
I do have a fair bit of crackling with the radio, and I think it's the jacks. I might need a bit of contact cleaner on them or something like that, and I'll also have to clean the insides of the areas where they go, and hopefully that'll fix it for the next time, but I'll give it a good try. Anyway, we're clear to line up. Right then, let's do this.
Golf Charlie Alpha.
Victor Victor, surface winds westerly at 3 knots.
Roger that. Golf Victor Victor taking off runway 27.
Ready? Yep.
Okay, so that's the power coming in, and now we are rolling. The Eurostar's unbelievable light, it's quick and it's off the ground before you've even realised it, and we'll get airborne. That's us climbing out over Perth. Look at that view. Doesn't matter how many times you do it, that first climb is always something special.
Woohoo! Hey.
Juliet Tower, downwind 27, touch and go.
Laps away.
Right, we're settled into the cruise now, and honestly this is when Scotland really shows off. You leave Perth behind and straight away you're into the proper hills, the ridges, the locks, the lot. My lads chatting away, pointing things out, asking questions, and I absolutely love it. This is why I fly. You can't buy moments like this. We're heading west now and the scenery just gets bigger and bigger. Islands in front of us, proper mountains, deep valleys, so much texture in the landscape. If you live in Scotland and you fly, this is your playground, it's unreal. Eurostar's humming along nicely, barely any turbulence, great visibility, couldn't ask for any better conditions to be honest. So I want to talk about something really important, something every pilot, especially GA and Microlight pilots flying in Scotland, needs to understand. The Scottish mountains, the Munros, are absolutely stunning. They're some of the most beautiful landscapes in the world, but they demand a lot of respect, and I mean proper respect. Flying over them isn't like flying over a flat land or rolling countryside. These big mountains carry their rules, their own behaviours, and if you don't understand them, they can bite really hard. Today, I want to break down the major dangers, my own thoughts from flying across Scotland, and some things I always keep in mind whenever I'm heading towards higher ground. If you're new to mountain flying, or even if you've flown over them for years, hopefully this will help you stay sharp, stay safe, and keep enjoying this amazing country from the skies. You can't sugarcoat it. The Scottish Highlands are rugged, cold, unpredictable, and very, very capable of ruining your day if you're not prepared. The Munros rise sharply, they create their own weather, and unlike flying over England where you've got a load of divert options and relatively tame terrain, here you've got rock, water, cliffs, narrow glens, and huge valleys with almost nowhere to put down safely. So while the views are unreal, and trust me, nothing beats flying above the Glencoe or the Cairngorms, you've always got to remember beauty doesn't mean safety. You can enjoy it, but never relax too much. So the big killer is wind over terrain, and this is the one that catches pilots out more than anything. Wind interacting with mountains. If you imagine wind hitting a flat field, it just rolls along nicely. If you imagine wind hitting a steep mountain, well, now you've got updrafts, downdrafts, rotor, turbulence, wave and mechanical mixing all happening at the same time. And Scotland's mountains aren't tall like the Alps, but don't let that fool you. The wind behaviour here can be vicious, and here's what you get. You get updrafts on the windward side, and if the wind is blowing onto the front of a mountain, air gets forced upwards. Sounds helpful, right? Well, not always. It can be unpredictable, rough, and it can lift you when you don't want lifting. And then you got downdrafts on the leeward side, the dangerous one, and this is the killer. So when the air goes over the top of the mountain, it sinks on the other side hard, and sometimes that sink rate is way more than your aircraft could climb. It doesn't matter if you're in a Eurostar, a Cessna, a Piper, even some bigger aircraft can really struggle. You could be flying perfectly stable and suddenly find yourself unable to hold altitude, descending towards the terrain. No power, no angle of attack, nothing is going to save you if you put yourself in the wrong place. That's why the golden rule is never fly on the downward side of a mountain at the same height as the ridge. Always keep a safe margin above or well away horizontally. I would say approximately 2,000 feet above the highest mountain terrain that you're going over. You've also got wind funneling through the glens, so a lot of pilots think valleys are safe, big open spaces, right? Not always. Scotland's glens act like giant funnels, squeezing the wind into tighter and faster streams. That means turbulence, unpredictable gusts, and sometimes wind that's accelerating so much it can roll you or push your wing down. Glenlyon, Glencoe, the Trossachs, the Cairngorm passes, these places are packed with wind hazards, and if you're flying low down a valley, thinking you're protected, you're not. You've also got rotor and mountain wave. So rotor turbulence is like washing machine air, turning, rolling, angry stuff. It lives just downwind of the ridges, cliffs and steep rock faces. It's invisible, it's violent, and it can smack you around really hard. Mountain wave is a different beast. Smooth up and smooth down, but the downs can be several thousand feet per minute, more than enough to drag a light GA aircraft towards the terrain. So So if a wave is forming or if a rotor is present, you want to stay well clear unless you're trained, prepared and absolutely certain of what you're doing. The temperature trap. So Scottish mountains don't just affect the wind, they affect the temperature. Even on a warm day, it can be bitterly cold up high. Haha, time for a selfie for me and my son here. Continuing with a temperature trap, with the cold comes icing. The carb icing is always lurking around in Scotland. You can have carb ice on days when you'd swear blind it's impossible, but you also get airframe icing, prop icing, carb ice forming strung in humid glens, a cloud sitting low area around the peaks, and if you accidentally fly into moist rising air near a mountain face, you can pick up ice fairly quickly, faster than you can climb or escape. Also, the clouds hide terrain. This one sounds obvious, but every year pilots get caught out. Scotland doesn't always give you a big fluffy white cloud. You get thin layers, mist sitting mid-slope or small patches clinging to the sides of the Munros. A mountain half hidden in cloud is more dangerous than one fully covered because it gives you a false confidence. You can't trust your eyes around mountains unless visibility is absolutely solid. And then you've got engine outs, which is the biggest fear. And let's talk about something every pilot secretly thinks about: engine failure over mountains. If you're flying over flat land, you've got options: fields, roads, clearings. You can normally figure something out. But over the Highlands, it's a different story. It's rocks, locks, dense forests, rising terrain and sloping ground everywhere. So you've always got to fly like the engine might quit, because one day it might. Here's how I approach it and how I recommend others approach it. Always keep a glide escape route. You should never be in a position where an engine failure means that that's it. Also fly high. Altitude is life over mountains. More height equals more time equals more options. Never fly yourself into a corner. Some valleys look gentle but rise faster than your climb rate. If you can't climb faster than the terrain, don't go into it. One of the main things is planning, the stuff that saves lives. So before flying anywhere near Scottish mountains, I do a few things without fail. Check the wind at different altitudes, not just surface wind, 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet, 5,000 feet winds. The pattern matters more than the number. Consider the wind direction relative to the terrain. This tells you where the trouble spots will be. Have a bailout route planned. Every leg of the flight has a what if option. Respect stable air versus unstable air. If the air is unstable, the mountains will be angry. If it's stable, still be cautious. A wave can form very silently. Avoid crossing ridges at 90 degrees unless high above, and cross diagonally. Give yourself an escape turn and stay well above the ridge height. Passing by the Three Sisters in Glencoe is always a personal moment for me. Back when I served in Her Majesty's Royal Marines, we used to climb these for fun during mountain training. Long days, heavy kit and proper arduous assault work. Looking down from the cockpit now feels surreal. And knowing when not to fly, this is the bit that pilots don't like admitting, but it's the most important thing. There are days when the mountains are simply not safe. It doesn't matter if the sky is blue or the visibility is perfect. If the wind is wrong, if the gusts are too strong, if the forecast shows wave or rotor, if the wind is blowing hard across the mountains, you just don't go. You stay on the ground, or you route somewhere else where it's a bit safer over land. Flying is meant to be enjoyable, and enjoyable flights come from good decisions, not risky ones. Final message: respect the mountains and they'll reward you. I want to finish on this. The Scottish mountains are breathtaking, truly. Flying over them is one of the bestest privileges a pilot can experience, but you have to respect them every single time. They don't care about your experience, your license, how good your aircraft is, or how many hours you have. If you treat them casually, they'll teach you a painful lesson. But if you approach them properly with planning, intelligence, altitude and respect, they'll give you some of the best flights of your life. So enjoy the views, enjoy the freedom, but always stay ahead of the aircraft. And remember that the mountains make the rules, not us.
Tango 3 miles southeast of Tainold. Runway 19, Golf.
Right, while we're cruising along here and making our way towards the west coast, I want to chat about something a bit different, something that really hits home for anyone who flies regular. We talk a lot about aircraft, safety, procedures, weather, all the technical stuff, but there's another flying side that doesn't get mentioned enough, the mental side, the mindset you need when you're up here. Every time I get up here, especially on days like this, you get clarity, you just don't get anywhere else, down on the ground. Life's noisy, work, stress, routines, people, messaging, responsibilities, but up here, it's just you, the aircraft, the sky, and the decisions that you make. Something about that simplicity just clears your head. You could have a rough day, be worried about something or having too much going on, but once you're at 3,000, 4,000 feet, looking out Scotland or England, stretching over forever, it all kind of resets. Flying, it actually teaches you to stay calm, to stay ahead of the situation, not to overact, and to control what you can control. And honestly, that's good life advice too. Flying as a father and doing flights like this with my son, that's different. That it's properly. You get time together that you don't get anywhere else. There's no phones, no distractions, no TV, and just the two of us sharing the same view, the same experience. My son's taking videos, but he's talking at the same time. Sometimes we talk loads, sometimes we sit quietly and just take it in. Either way, it's time I'll never get back, and I'm glad we're up here making memories together instead of wasting hours scrolling through nonsense. It's just flying lessons, it's life lessons he'll carry forever. Awareness, responsibility, focus, staying calm, handling pressure, respecting nature, respecting risk, and flying teaches all of that without saying a single word. Look at this view now, rolling hills, easy to see in the real Highlands. Most people never get to see Scotland like this. Flying gives you a proper appreciation for the country you live in. I mean, down on the A82 in the summer, you sit behind 50 caravans and coaches, and up here, you're gliding over lochs, ridges, forests and peaks that look untouched. You realise how wild it still is, how unforgiving some parts are and how small you are in the grand scheme of things. And that's why pilots talk about perspective, because you can't help but get some when you're looking down on thousands of years of geology shaped by ice, wind and time. When you fly regular in Scotland, you start knowing the mountains like they're old mates. Ben Lawyers, Backhole, Etty Moor, the Tarmacan Ridge, Cairngorm Plateau and the Three Sisters that we passed earlier. Each one has its own personality, its own mood and its own little warning signs. So just before we get to Connel Bridge, that's what I wanted to share. Flying isn't just a physical thing, it's a mental reset, a bonding experience, a privilege and responsibility all rolled into one. And now we're almost at the coast, and one of the best landmarks in the whole of Scotland is coming up. Connel Bridge is just ahead, so let's get ready for the descent. So we've seen Connel Bridge. What a sight. The way the tides move through there is mad. It looks brilliant from up here. So Oban Tower has told us to join crosswind for runway 9, which we've just passed. We're positioning around the bridge now, nice and smooth, nothing rushed, and we'll turn onto downwind. That's us on the downwind leg now. Turning onto base, you have to do a bit of a curved approach onto final. That's us on finals now, and honestly, just look at that approach. The hills on one side, the water on the other. Easily one of the nicest arrivals in the UK. A beautiful touchdown, nice and tidy. So I veer off to the left as the tower wants us to do a 180 backtrack. So we'll spin her around carefully and then take a slow run back down the runway.
Well done.
Exiting at Charlie now, then heading over to stand number 5. Perfect end to a perfect little adventure. That's us parked up at Oban. What a flight, amazing views, smooth flying, and best of all, doing it with my son. These are the days you remember. If you enjoyed riding along, hit like, drop a comment and stick around. Loads more trips coming up. Thanks ever so much for watching. See you again soon.